One of the questions I get asked all the time is how can I go to concerts or any sensory heavy event when I have autism? And it's a good question. As an autistic person, I struggle a lot with sensory issues. So I struggle with loud noises or bright lights. So you'd think concerts would be like the last place I would be at. But I love music and I don't want to let my autism or support needs stop me from doing the things that I want to do. I just might have to do them differently, but if it allows me freedom to do the things that I enjoy, that's okay. So I went to a few concerts recently. I went to see Taylor Swift with friends and I went to see Hozier by myself, and I'm so proud of myself for going. Especially because a year ago I struggled to leave the house and now I'm going to a concert by myself. So it's a huge achievement. But I wanted to put this video together just to share my tips on going to a gig solo as an autistic person because it's not easy. But I'll introduce myself first. I'm Orla. I'm an Irish artist, and in 2021 I found out that I'm autistic. So I wanted to set this channel up to talk about my experiences as a late diagnosed autistic person, as well as to share my art. And if you could please like this video and subscribe to my channel, that would be great. And as you can tell from today's video, I am going to be talking about how to navigate concerts solo as an autistic person. So this kind of sounds like a no-brainer, but when I go to concerts, I choose music that I enjoy listening to and I listen to all the time. And I know that I will be going to concerts months in advance, so I can prepare myself. I would not be able to do a spontaneous concert. And I know that about myself. I think if you are going to any kind of event, think about what your support needs are. For myself, I know I need a lot of support around sensory stuff, so lights and noises. So concerts are very, very, very difficult for me. But like I said, I don't want to let my autism stop me from doing things that I want to do. I don't want to miss out on anything. I just need to figure out what works for me. And knowing that I have a concert out coming up in advance, it allows me to prepare for it. And when I go and see artists that I enjoy, my brain is kind of focused on enjoying the music and experience rather than my sensory needs. Before heading to a concert, I will research everything. I will look up playlists on Spotify. I will look up videos on TikTok to see what previous concerts have been like. This is just so I can get an idea of the stage and production of the gig and what it's like. And I understand that this will change depending on the venue, but it just gives me some idea. And it also gets me excited about going to a concert. Because remember, you're there to have fun and you're there to enjoy yourself. And by doing some research beforehand, it will help to alleviate your anxiety. And as well as researching things like transport and accommodation, I will also research things like, do I need to order some loop earplugs or ear protections? I have these. And research things like how much space do I have in my bag for stim toys or medications or things like that, just so I'm prepared. So if you are heading to an event or a concert, bring a bag of essentials with you. Now, the size of your bag will depend on the venue. Some venues have very strict rules about bags. So again, do your research beforehand. But I will make sure that I pack everything I need into one bag that I can access quickly. So I have the basic things like my purse and my ID, but I also make sure that I pack things like stim toys or pain medication. I had suspected endometriosis, so sometimes I get very, very debilitating flare-ups. And getting a flare-up at a gig when I am by myself is just not a situation that I want to be in. So having pain medication where I can easily reach it means that I don't really have to worry too much about it. Although I'm always worried about getting a flare-up or having a meltdown, especially when I'm on my own. But having a bag of essentials with me that I can easily access, it just gives me some peace of mind. And again, it will help me kind of alleviate some of the anxiety of being by myself. I will also pack stim toys. So I will pack a little thing like this because it's small enough to fit in my bag and my pocket in my jacket so I can stim without people looking at me. But honestly, people are not paying as much attention to you as you think they are. They're there to see their favorite artists, they're there to have fun, they're not paying attention to you. But if it's safe for you to do so, stim away, and remember to have fun. Let's talk public transport. So, public transport can be a nightmare at the best of times, but even more so when there's gigs on. There's just a lot of traffic, and some roads are even blocked off, so you can't go the usual route, which makes getting to the event very, very tricky. And there are kind of private buses and coaches that will take you to the event, which is what I used when I went to see Hosier because I was by myself. But these can be very expensive, so kind of have a budget in mind and try and stick to it. Also, the same goes for taxis. They are very expensive, and some of them might even be booked up on the day of the event. The reason why I chose to use like a private bus coach was just because of convenience. It was just the easiest option for me, and because I was traveling by myself, I just wanted to make the experience as easy as possible. But I understand this might not work for everybody, so just be mindful of your budget and just do what works for you. So speaking of budget, let's talk accommodation. There's a few different options that you can go with. If you have friends or family that live in the area, I'd recommend staying with them because they're a safe person that you can trust, and you might feel more comfortable going to a concert by yourself if you know you have a safe space to go back to afterwards. But people can sometimes be busy and have their own stuff going on, so you can choose to stay in like a hostel, which is what I usually do. But again, this might not work for everybody. But the reason why I go to a hostel is because as an autistic person with suspected endometriosis, if I have a meltdown or a flare-up, I will need to kind of leave early and head home. So if I'm meeting kind of my friends afterwards for a night out after the concert, once I get like a flare-up or a meltdown, that's it. And I don't want my friends to cut their night short because of me. So I usually kind of stay in a hostel, which doesn't always work because they can get very loud, especially if you're sharing with other people. But since I knew I was going to these concerts months in advance, I was able to book a private room just so I have my own space. But like I said, be mindful of your budget. This might not work for everybody, so just do what works for you. So this is kind of the hardest part to explain to people about being autistic and going to gigs where there's a lot of loud music and a lot of sensory stuff going on. When I go to a gig, I'm usually full of adrenaline and have a lot of energy. And for the most part, I'm so happy to see the artists that I love that I'm distracted from my sensory issues. But those sensory issues and support needs are still there. And when the gig is over and all the adrenaline and energy goes, those sensory issues and my support needs will hit me like a ton of bricks. And I will just shut down completely. I can struggle to walk, or usually when I'm having a meltdown, my speech is the first to go. And I can struggle to formulate sentences and tell people what help I need. And it can take me days to kind of recover. And if I'm having a particularly bad shutdown, it can even take me weeks to recover. Because concerts are very kind of sensory heavy, I need as little sensory stimulation afterwards as possible. So I will sit in a dark room until I'm able to regulate myself. And I also will not force myself to talk to people until I'm ready to. And I know this can come across as very rude, but I'm looking after myself and I'm giving myself space to regulate myself. And I'm putting my support needs first. And I'm not going to apologize for that. Because when I do have meltdowns or flare-ups, even the most basic tasks like getting dressed or feeding myself require a lot of energy that I don't have. So I need to look after myself. So yes, I can go to concerts and all of that, but people don't see the aftermath of that. Going to gigs or even doing the basic things that I want to do, it comes at a cost. And I can mask and I can hide a lot of my support needs, but they're still there. So people see me going to concerts and they see me be very sociable, but they don't see the effort that goes into that. And I think that goes for a lot of autistic people, especially high masking autistic people. You can see us do something that requires a lot of energy, but a lot of effort goes into that. Those are just some of the things that work for me. And I think it's really important if you are an autistic person to just do what works for you. So you can watch my videos, and if you find something that helps you, that's great. But not everything will work for everybody. And you know yourself better than anybody. You know your support needs. So the most important thing that I have found helpful is remembering that I can still enjoy my life and have great experiences, but I just might have to do things differently than other people. But that doesn't make it wrong. It's okay. And you don't have to apologize for that. You do what works for you. And if you want to share your own tips about going to concerts solo as an autistic person, please leave them down below. And if you have made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching.